for coming down to South Sarasota County. And I just want to make a couple comments and give it to him, because I know you want to hear from him. And thank you first for allowing you to be my sheriff, but tell you why 46 of the 66 elected sheriffs of this state endorsed this man. And I think it's more than fair to say that the great state that we're in, the most important thing that we have is safety and security. And when you get 46 sheriffs, and not all from one side of the aisle, from both sides of the aisle, understand the most important thing is to have somebody who's going to represent us in Tallahassee, somebody who's going to protect the laws that made this state as safe as it is. We're at an all-time low in crime. The state's vibrant. He's a local guy from Polk County who understands our state, understands everything about this state of Florida, and that's why the sheriffs of this state are fully behind him. For me, being behind him, along with 17 other sheriffs, it's about keeping our community safe and using the laws in cooperation with our federal government. And we hear a lot of discussion about our federal government right now, but I endorse him and I care about working for him because I believe in what he's doing is protecting our borders, protecting our communities, and allowing the sheriffs of the state to have the laws to work with Homeland Security, to be able to remove criminal illegal aliens from our communities. When they come into my jail, I get to identify them and remove them because of people like Adam Putnam who are going to protect the laws and protect our abilities to do that. That's crime prevention. And when you got criminal illegal aliens coming into our community committing crimes from different nations who are here illegally, we don't want them here, we want to get them out. And if we get that opportunity to get them out, we want to use the laws to do it. And this gentleman has committed to us who are doing it that he will protect that authority, protect our ability to do it, and protect this great state in prevention of getting these people out of our community. So on behalf of the 46 sheriffs who have endorsed him, thank you for coming. I think it's great that he's here today, and I know you want to see this man who's going to be our next governor of the great state of Florida, Adam Putnam.
Let's give your sheriff a great round of applause. He's doing amazing things here in Sarasota County. And everything that I want to talk to you about, everything that I want to do for our state, all of the things that we want to accomplish together, begin with public safety. Crime in Florida is at a 47-year low because of the men and women of the sheriffs of the Sarasota County Sheriff's Department and municipal police agencies and our first responders and our prosecutors and our corrections officers who keep the bad guys behind bars. They run into situations everyone else is running away from. How many of us remember when there was the murder of the German tourists in Florida and all of a sudden travel advisories went out all over Europe and they said don't go to Florida? Everything, economic development, jobs, schools, communities, everything begins and ends with public safety. Thank you for your service, Sheriff. And thank you and the 46 of our 66 sheriffs, plus the Police Benevolent Association, plus the Fraternal Order of Police, plus our Firefighters Association here in Florida, who have endorsed me to be the next governor of Florida. Thank you. Now, I'm from just up the road in Polk County, like you said. I'm from Bartow. We got the former mayor of Bartow here, Orlando Wright. Come on, Orlando. So, named Orlando, mayor of Bartow, now he's down here. He's got a pretty good track record. You don't even listen to what he says, because he made Bartow, you know, like the center of the universe. So I appreciate the sheriff letting me come into the county. We've even got a couple of folks from Manatee County, and I know how those lines are, so we got them special dispensation to be able to come into Sarasota County as well. We're not just anywhere in Sarasota. We're in South Sarasota. We're in Venice, the cradle of the conservative movement here in the county, right? You're going to be the margin. You're going to be the difference. You're going to turn out. You're going to be our grassroots passion and our grassroots energy. So I'm a farmer. I'm a small business owner. I'm a fifth-generation Floridian. I'm committed to the long-term well-being of our state, not just slapping a Band-Aid on the problem. And let me tell you how much better off Florida is than we were 8 years ago when Governor Scott and Pam Bondi and I were traveling around the state campaigning for that first time. Back then, the unemployment rate in Florida was almost 12%. Today, it's under 4%. Now, I'm not an Ivy Leaguer, I'm just a Gator, but I was an economics major, and we were taught that 4% was full employment. And the third largest state in the greatest nation the world has ever known is under 4% right now. 8 years ago when we were campaigning, Pam and the governor and I, more people were moving out of the state than were moving into Florida. Today, 1,000 new people a day, on average, move here. Now, they're leaving high tax, high bureaucracy states because they know that Florida will treat them right. Of course, the weather's a big factor, but they're coming down here because they know that this is a pro-business, conservative state. So when those 1,000 new people a day are moving here to seek better opportunities, let's just hope they leave their bad voting habits behind from those high-tax states. Who knows, one or two of you may even be in that category. You left states that had lost their way. I mean, shoot, we ought to put Bill de Blasio and Rahm Emanuel on the payroll for all the jobs and the money that they send to Florida. That's a completely different scenario today than it was 8 years ago, now that more people are moving here. So we're playing a hot hand. Meanwhile, in Washington, they continue to let us down. They haven't passed an immigration bill. Their credit rating has been downgraded while Florida's credit rating has been improved. AAA in the state of Florida, thanks to pro-business conservative leadership. If you want to lead Florida, if you want to be governor of Florida, you must be present to win. You must be here. You must know our communities, from Perdido Key to Key West. You need to know the differences in our communities and know that a cookie-cutter approach to our state won't work. And we're going to build on that strong economic foundation that Governor Scott has created over the last 7.5 years. And I can't wait to see what he does when he helps our president as the next United States Senator from the great state of Florida. When he and President Trump team up, if he does a fraction for the U.S. Senate of what he's done here in Florida, amazing things are going to happen. So let me tell you how we build on that strong foundation. It begins by putting Florida first. My first campaign platform was putting Florida's families first. You can't have a strong society if you don't have strong families. We have to have a faith-based initiative, again in Florida, that supports our men and women in law enforcement who are fighting the opioid crisis and the number of opioid orphans who are now in foster care and in need of support. We have to support, protect, and defend life in this state. We have to support the small businesses in this state, but you do that one family at a time. The second piece of this is education. I'm a product of our public schools. My 4 children are in our public schools. We've probably got some teachers here. We have any teachers here, retired teachers, some folks who've been in the trenches. What grade did you teach? Third, bless your heart. That's a tough year. Any middle school, junior high teachers? Like, that's the worst. That's the toughest, right? I mean, the girls are mean and the boys are dumb. I mean, and I'm saying that as a guy who now has only 1 in middle school, but in August I'll have 3 girls in high school. So 3 teenage girls telling me every day how dumb Dad is, you know? It's fun to be on the campaign trail embarrassing them on a statewide basis. But I've been able to see the changes that we've made by putting parents back in charge of the education and empowering local communities, not the teachers' union. Who is going to make the better decision for your child's education? The parents and local community leaders or the National Teachers Union? It's going to be the parents. We've got to get Washington out of the education business. And we've got to re-empower parents and local school boards and the communities to make the right decisions, because a cookie cutter is not going to get it done. In Florida, we have some of the largest school districts in America. Miami-Dade, Broward, Hillsborough, Orange, Duval. But we also still have counties in Florida who only have 2 schools. Hamilton County. Union County, 1 elementary, 1 middle, 1 high school. And Lafayette County, which most of the people running for governor couldn't even pronounce that the correct way, much less know how many schools are in that county. But if you want to be governor of Florida, you need to know that about Florida, because you can't treat all of our school districts the same. I've seen how the options and the decisions that my kids get to make in a small town in Polk County are transformed from the ones that I had. Let me give you a couple of examples. So now, when I drop off my son at middle school, there's political-sized yard signs in front of the school, recruiting parents, recruiting students based on their academic needs. Homeschool, apply today this direction. Charter school, this direction. Career academy, you want interested in a career in law enforcement or the military, like the Sarasota Academy, apply here. The traditional program, accelerated academics like International Baccalaureate. Multiple options so that you can customize learning for each child. Recruiting students based on academic needs. What a novel concept. When we were in school, the only people who got recruited were pitchers and quarterbacks. And I'm telling you, I wasn't one of them. We've seen how that is changing the ability to customize learning, and we've seen how technology is transforming this as well. 2 summers ago, back when they would give me time to go to the beach, we were at the beach. And I noticed that my girls were playing with these other kids on the beach, and these other girls on the beach had a brand new Labrador puppy. Cute little thing. You know how a lab puppy is. I mean, it's just like a train wreck, knocking everybody over, knocking over beach chairs, umbrellas, you name it, up and down the beach, this lab puppy. Well, when it comes blowing by me, I noticed that this dog's wearing a Fitbit on its collar. I thought that was a little weird. You ever seen a Fitbit on a dog's collar? So I waved my daughter over and I said, "Hey, why is your friend's puppy wearing a Fitbit on its collar?" And she sort of looked around sheepishly like she was the one that was going to get in trouble for this. And she said, "Well, she's taking a PE class online with the Florida Virtual School and she's behind in her steps." That young lady is a problem solver and will do well in life. Getting right in our school system, and I'm going to fix it as the next governor. We've got a system right now that's trying to force 100% of our students into one funnel. And it says to them, if you end up doing anything at all other than ending up with a 4-year university degree, you're going to be a loser in life. That's what they're saying to our kids. Doesn't matter how much student loan debt you need to take on. It doesn't matter whether the degree that you're getting is a degree that you want or a degree that's useful in this economy. They're saying to our kids, you must go to a 4-year university degree, come home more broke and more liberal than when you started, or you're going to be a failure in life. That's flat wrong. And let me tell you something, I see that as a business leader and I hear about it from our employers. And here's what we're going to do about it. We're going to put vocational and technical education back into the middle schools and back into the high schools and support our voting and stop treating our state colleges like a redheaded stepchild. That's a Florida jobs first agenda. That's a Florida students first agenda. It's not theoretical, it's not academic. That's a real world impression based on what I see as a small business owner, what I see with my 4 kids in the public schools, what I benefited from vocational education with FFA in my own school experience. I know it because I know Florida. And I know that it's the right thing for us to do as a state. And you can't fix that from a Washington studio. You better roll up your sleeves and meet with the teachers and meet with the principals and get with the school board and figure out how we're going to do it county by county. We're the state that's the fishing capital of the world. We can build more boats here. I've drooled over 1 or 2 boats that are built here in Sarasota County. Can't afford it on an ag commissioner's salary, but I've drooled over them. They're beautiful. And we need to be building more boats here in Florida. We're the state that put a man on the moon. We need to be the state that leads the way in the next generation of innovation for the next giant leap for mankind. But we have to have the skilled workforce to make that happen. This is not just construction. It's not only boat building. It's healthcare. The #1 job vacancy in Florida every month for 10 years has been nursing. Truck drivers is the 2nd greatest job vacancy in Florida right now. I just spoke to the concrete producers convention in Clearwater. None of them have all the employees that they need. They just announced that they're going to build icebreakers at the Port of Tampa. There's some amount of irony in that, I've got to admit. There's a little chuckle involved in that. They need welders. I spent the morning at Gulf Marine with their human resources director who's taking kids from Hillsborough Community College and teaching them how to weld. And not just taking 17-year-olds, but retraining adults. And they're making really good money. In fact, truth be told, they're making more money than the art history major who was your barista this morning for your coffee. The next generation of Coast Guard cutters is going to be built in Panama City, but they need workers. Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk are creating more jobs than we've had in a space program since at least the shuttle program and maybe since the Apollo program. They need more workers. I want those to be Florida men and women. That's workforce development. It's real jobs, good jobs, high-paying careers, and not just because John Morgan or somebody in the government tells you what you're going to pay, but because the economy is strong and resilient and diverse. And we have agriculture and tourism and home building and aviation and marine and life sciences and financial services. That's what our economy can be if we put career education back into our schools and stop treating state colleges like a redheaded stepchild. That's what it looks like. That's what we can do. Education, workforce development, infrastructure, protecting the things that make Florida, Florida, like our water. We come to Florida, people visit our state because of our beaches, because of our beautiful coastline, our Gulf, our lakes, our springs. And I have made it my passion the entire time I've been in public life to focus on protecting our water supplies and our water quality. And we're going to keep up that fight because it's what drives real estate values. Ask a realtor.
Yes!
There you go. You pay more or less to be on the water.
I own the farm, honey.
And we need more water for the farm. And we need more water for the things that make Florida, Florida. That's exactly right. But you have to know these things. You can't do this from out of state. You can't do this from a different zip code. You can't do this if you're undermining veterans and seniors' commitments that were made to them. You can't do this if you want to impose more taxes on Americans. You can't do this if, like some of the Democratic candidates for governor, you want to make Florida a sanctuary state. Now, is that going to make us safer in Florida? Do we want to see Florida become a sanctuary state? Absolutely not. We will not allow sanctuary cities or Florida to become a sanctuary state, despite what the Democratic candidates for governor say. President Trump has laid out his agenda to have a fix for immigration, and Congress, again, lets us down. Just 2 days ago, they had a vote to support the law enforcement officers in ICE. My opponent wasn't even there to cast a vote in support of ICE, despite the fact that he had co-sponsored the legislation. Man, you can't just talk about it. You got to do it. You got to be there. You got to roll up your sleeves and get involved in each one of our communities, the big ones and the small ones. You can't run for governor from a studio. You got to be in a train depot, and you got to be at the barbecue restaurant, and you got to be at Gecko's, and you got to be in the Conas, and you got to be in the small businesses. This is what's at stake. The Democratic candidates who want to raise our taxes and make us a sanctuary state. And the next logical step, what California and places in Maryland have done, now they're allowing illegals to vote in local elections. Is that what we want here in Florida? Of course not. What we want is a Florida first agenda that is conservative, that is pro-business, that is the launch pad for the American dream. And that's what we can build together. That's what this is all about. It's about giving our kids the opportunities to find high-paying careers without leaving the state. It's about making America great by putting Florida first, because America can't be great if our third largest state isn't hitting on all cylinders. And we're going to, by God, be hitting on all cylinders in business, in tourism, in agriculture, in all of the industries, and we're going to bring new ones to our state. That's what this is all about. But I need your help. I'm running a grassroots campaign that looks exactly like this. Isn't this what our founders intended?
Yes.
That your candidate would stand before you and lay out their heart and their values and their vision and say, if you support me, here is where we will go. With your help, this is what we will accomplish. With your support, here is what we can become. That's what a grassroots campaign is all about. And that's what our founders laid out when they made our states the laboratories of democracy. And we have fewer than 40 days left from now until this primary. Every day counts. Overseas ballots have already been mailed. Early voting begins shortly. August 28th is the end of voting, not the beginning of voting. In fact, we think that by August 28th, 2/3 of the votes will already be cast. It's on. It's now. I need your involvement and your passion and your help right now at this moment. When we leave here, we need you to sign up to volunteer, to make calls, to put signs in your yard and stickers on your bumper, to get on social media and tell all of your thousands and thousands of Facebook friends and Instagram friends and Twitter friends and everybody else, and do it the old-fashioned way and look someone in the eye and tell them that I need to be the next governor of Florida, because all of us will be better off with a Florida first agenda rather than a failed DC talk about it, bumper sticker slogan, but no solutions. This is about solving problems. This is about working the issue. This is about knowing Florida. And this is about making Florida even better than it already is. And we can do that together. That's what grassroots campaigns are all about. And that's why I'm going to win. Because at the end of the day, what you tell your friends and neighbors is far more influential than any TV commercial. It's far more effective than any mail piece or any radio ad. What you tell your friends and neighbors, the people you work with and the people you worship with, is that this campaign is about the future of our state. It's about judges, about a business climate, about public safety, about protecting our state from the left's invasion. George Soros is spending millions of dollars in Florida right now. Tom Steyer is spending millions of dollars in Florida right now. And do you think that they're doing that because they want to widen I-75 so that we're spending a little bit less of our life looking at brake lights? Do you think that they're doing that because they care about the workforce development opportunities in our schools here in this community? Absolutely not. They're doing it for one reason and one reason only. Because they want to defeat President Trump in 2020. And to do that, they want to hijack our politics in 2018. We can't let that happen. Florida's future needs to be determined by Floridians. And Florida needs to be led by a Floridian, by someone who knows Florida, by someone who has an agenda to make Florida better, and has a way to bring us all together to accomplish that mission. That's what this is all about. I know Florida best, and I will always put Florida first. That's my values, and that's my agenda. I should say those are my values. My English teacher would correct me. As would my mother. Those are our values. Those are Florida's values. That's what this is all about. We live in the greatest state, in the greatest nation the world has ever known. People save all year to visit our state. And the memories they make are so powerful that those kids grow up and bring their own children back a generation later to recreate those same experiences. We live in a state people spend much of their adult life figuring out how to get here. Shoveling snow in Ohio, dreaming about being in Florida. Sitting in traffic in Jersey, dreaming about being in Florida. Paying those high taxes in Illinois, dreaming about being in Florida. Being on the water, being on the golf course, wearing flip-flops in January. You name it. You may have even lived it. I'm so proud of that. That's our state. But we can be all of that and more. We can be the launch pad. The launch pad for the American dream. Literally and figuratively. We can invest in public safety and keep our communities and our neighborhoods and our schools safe. We can roll out the red carpet for small business, because if you take care of small business, big business is going to be fine. We can make Florida the most veteran and military-friendly state in the country. The kind of place that military families spend their entire career telling the rest of the world how much better they were treated in Florida. That's what we can do. and we can put the skills back into our schools, the career, vocational, and technical training, to create high-paying jobs, that our young people stay here and raise their families here and grow their businesses here. That is a Florida First agenda. It's conservative. It's in support of our president. It is in support of our state that we love. And it will make Florida a better place, not just for the next fiscal year, but for the next generation. That's what we can do together. Will you help me get the word out?
Yes.
Will you help me make this happen? Yes. Will you help us work for the next 40 days? And then, I promise, when we get to August 28th and we're victorious in the primary, I'm going to let you sleep in the next morning, and then we're going to hit it again. Because too much is at stake in November for us to turn the keys of Florida over to the George Soroses of the world. This is our state. This is our time. It's time to put Florida first and make Florida the launch pad for the American dream. God bless you for coming out. Thank you so much for